10 o'clock, we'll call the March 7th, 2016 meeting of the Limestone County Commission to order. Public comment,
Deborah Scripture.
Ms. Grimsher.
Yes, my name's Deborah Scrimsher, and I live on Sledge Road, and, I got pictures of some drainage, can I send it to you?
Absolutely.
I've been living there going on 30-something years, and, the other day, we put in a drainage tile ourselves because I contacted, the office, I called the office, and, I talked to Randy Mashburn, and he quoted me the price for a tile, I couldn't afford it.
Do you mind standing right there?
No, sir, sure, I'm sorry.
Oops, I'm sorry.
I called the commissioner's office and didn't get an answer, so I took and, the number, it was for Mr. Harrison and Randy Mashburn, so I know Randy personally, so I talked to him, and he quoted me a price, and I couldn't afford it. So I went and purchased my own tile, put it in, and we still have drainage problems down below me. You can see the stagnated water. The tiles are mashed in, they holding up water, plus it's gonna cause mosquitoes, and like I said, I've always had a problem up Sledge Road. It's always been a drainage. And Mr. Harrison, I will say, was out there, I think Saturday, he was out there, but.
Out Friday,
Yeah,
we
Friday.
came out with the engineer Friday.
Yes, sir, excuse me,
Mhm,
it was Friday, or, Friday, and we just need something to be done, because to me, that is a health hazard. With the stagnated water, and if it don't drain, it just backs up and it causes more damage. But I did put in the tile myself, and I do appreciate y'all listening to me.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Wilda Davis.
Before we get into recapping our, meeting with you on March 2nd, and we do appreciate very much you listening to us, at that meeting, the drainage was discussed, and you were thinking that perhaps we didn't even have any easement out there. Did you
We're-
find, have you,
We're looking into the, we've got the engineer looking into it. And
Right of way is just prescriptive.
Right.
The right of way is just prescriptive on that road.
what does that mean? I don't
It means
understand.
back a ditch to back a ditch. It's just what we maintain currently is all that means.
Are you saying that you are supposed to maintain what's out there now?
Yeah, I mean, yes, the ditch is our responsibility. Yeah, I mean, so, I mean, and Ben and I discussed it, and and I've got to go out and do some surveys before I can give a recommendation.
Okay, very good. Okay, just to recap our March 2nd meeting with you people, we are here to see what has happened. When the meeting convened, when our portion was finished, Mr. Macklin was going to call someone, probably at the health department, and see what could be done out there, because it is a health hazard. It is a safety hazard. Those derelict properties we're talking about, we see armadillos going in and out of there, raccoons. They're
You know,
just,
you never seen armadillos when we were kids, did you?
we did not.
Ain't that
We did
odd,
not.
though? But,
They
in the last-
carry, but they carry
I mean, that is odd.
plague
been
and
a-
other things.
Well, Marcus talk, I guess, Mark, you'd address this, please?
Yeah, I mean, I called Donald G. that day. He's at the health department, and he's the one that handles the inspection and initial citations of any potential violation of the junk and debris laws. And I called him just like I said I would, and he's gonna gather the necessary information to prepare any citation. So, I mean, as we told you the other day, I mean, it wouldn't be resolved by today, but
No, no, no.
we would set that in motion, and that's what we've done.
Right, thank you. And was he very proactive in?
As far as I know, I mean, they're few and far between, but the ones I've worked with on Donald G., like I said the other day, this is the process they follow.
So it's a good chance that he will. Has he been, he has not been out there. Okay, does he not attend these meetings?
No,
when
he
we
doesn't,
got-
he does not regularly attend the
But
commission
when we
meetings.
have problems like health,
Well, if there is a complaint, it's dealt with to the landowner, meaning that if a citation is issued, he may meet with the landowner, depending on the circumstances. I've met with him on occasion with the landowner, but if we meet with the landowner, we're not going to call all of you to come out there.
Of course not. We
Okay,
prefer you do it yourselves.
So yes, we've certainly taken the complaint that was voiced on Wednesday and set in motion, having that addressed,
Okay.
if we can.
Did you set a time when he was to be back with you, or is just out there?
No, I mean, I told him when he got the, he has to get information on where to send the citation and who to send it to. And that's, you know, a little more than 2 business days ago. So, I mean, that's why we told you that, we would set it in motion, but we wouldn't have a lot of these answers this morning.
Of course.
Okay.
We appreciate
Certainly.
what you have done, but we don't want it to just be out there.
Certainly.
We'll,
Thank you.
we'll stay on top of the debris issue. Donald, he's not a county employee, so it's,
Oh, he's not.
no ma'am, so we can't, he's an employee of the state, so we can't. And I'm sure he'll get on it, he always has in the past, but I
So
mean,
is it state?
state employee, yes ma'am. So,
He's-
that's what, and as far as the drainage issues, it sounds like Mark's on it and Commissioner Harrison, they can determine
Sounds like
what,
they are, and we appreciate
yes
it.
ma'am, whatever can be done
I believe
about it.
that phase ledge had already been talked with Lee and Greer.
Mhm.
So if he stayed, then Greer knows about it.
Right,
Thank you.
yes ma'am. Anyone?
I have no one else.
All right, Kelly, you wanna give us an update on the courthouse?
Good morning.
Morning.
Just, I apologize for not being here at the last meeting, had, family issues, but, I'm here today to give, the update on the courthouse. Right now, we are working through some site work, getting the main sanitary line and the new manhole, all that's in place, covered up, tested, ready to go. We are working now on the secondary sanitary line coming from the restrooms underneath the stairs, getting that tied into the main sanitary line today. We've also got the conduit in for the new transformer and the new power supply from the city to the new transformer. The old transformer was demoed last week. We've got the new switch, the old switch gear was demoed out, and now we got the conduit in and ready to set the new transformer pad this week. Should have transformers on that pad by the end of the week. We are also, as far as what the work inside the building, we have gotten just about all the drywall installed except on first floor.
And they're painting third floor.
Yes, sir, we've started painting on third floor on
You still
Thursday.
think the ceiling grid, just start hanging it in a couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks, we should start hanging some ceiling grid up on third floor. We're working on door trim. We're getting that old trim cleaned up and starting to install it around some of the doors on second and third floor. We're reinstalling the old marble panels that were the wainscot in the hallways, where that's going up. Got most of it done.
All the laminate wall repairs that we'd approved last meetings have been
Yeah, all
completed.
the
And they
lamination.
turned out really, really good. I
That's
mean,
all been
really good.
completed. Most of it's been finished and sanded, and a lot of it's being painted right now, so we've got painters and finishers on site today. First floor work has kind of been put on hold until we get this electrical switchover done. I need all the electricians working on that right now.
But a lot of the sheetrock's been in there, 'cause
Yes.
I carried, Kelly
That's,
met,
that's only on the south end that we've kind of held things up. The north end, we already had the electrical in place, so we are installing drywall on that area,
right.
first floor. The south end of first floor is kind of held up until we get this electrical switch over completed. Just because I don't have enough electricians to do the wall rough in right now until we do get the electrical switch over completed, which should be done, if not by the end of this week, sometime during the next week. We should have the new transformer, new switch gear, new power run to the building, and then we've got the feeders run to all the floor, the main panels on all the floors. So once this switch over goes into effect, then we will have power on the building. We will not be operating on temporary power at that time, so that's gonna be very helpful. The roof, the shingles, the flashing around the dome and the chimney, and the TPO gutter are all in place. There's some minor punch list items we still need them to correct, but they're gonna wait until the metal for the coping comes in, and it's supposed to come in this week. And they will be installing the coping around the perimeter of the roof, over the stone cap, because that stone cap had deteriorated to where the mortar joints were leaking, allowing water to leak into the perimeter walls of the building. So we're covering that up with metal. We've got new metal gutters for the roofs over the porches, and all of that should be done this week if we can get enough good weather. I think it's supposed to rain toward the end of the week, but we'll do what we can until the rain gets here. But right now, we've got one small area of roof leak, and that has to do with one of the gutters over the porch roofs. It's just temporarily tied in till we can get the new gutter in. So it's seeping a little water, not very much. I was up there the other day while it was raining. It's not enough to cause, it's not causing any damage or anything right now, so all of that should be taken care of when this gutter metal is put in this week. The new fire pump and new controller box are installed. All the mains, as far as the fire sprinkler system, are in place. They're running a few branch lines this week. We should have that wrapped up and the system ready for testing by the end of next week. It's going to take a little time to get the fire sprinklers over to the offices and the restrooms underneath the steps on the east and west. That's about all we lack. And of course, the electrical tie-ins for the tamper switches and flow switches, that kind of thing, but that's gonna come after we get the electrical switch over completed. The plumbing, we got the sump pump, the pit for the sump pump in the elevator that y'all approved a couple of weeks ago. That's completed. The plumbers will be coming in this week to set that sump pump and run the piping for that. Plus, our domestic water will be in place by then, and we will be tying the new domestic water into the booster pump. That all happened this week too. All the other plumbing in the building is roughed in, so once this is done, we won't see plumbers until the finishes, when they're actually putting the fixtures in. Our HVAC system, all the piping for the boilers and the chillers, that's all been completed. We're testing and insulating it as we need. All the branch lines inside the building to the fan coil units are in place. We've actually set all the fan coil units on the 3rd floor. Now, a fan coil unit is the individual air conditioner that's in the individual offices. Those are on 3rd floor. Those are in place and have been tied in. And they're testing and insulating those piping as they go. We should be able, we're working, when we get the electrical switch over done and we've got permanent power on the building, we're hoping that the HVAC system will be, that's what we're working for, is that's gonna, at the same time, we'll be able to fire up the new system in the building by then. And that's gonna help us out with our finishes inside, keep controlled air. Electrical, we're 1 week into our power shutdown. Had a few glitches at first, you know, not enough generators on site, but we've taken care of that. So we're working off of generators right now for the next, we've been doing that all last week. We'll do it all this week and into the next week. And that's why it's kind of loud around the courthouse right now. It's just a lot of generators going on. And they've got all the feeds to the upper floors done. We've got the main feed into and ready to hook into the transformer once the transformer pad is poured and they're set, which we're hoping that'll be this week. Communication ditch has been dug, and the conduit is being installed at this right now for the fiber optic lines coming into the building. All that's being done, taken care of as we get the site work done. Like I said, all the rough end, as far as electrical goes, is pretty much completed in the building, except for the first floor, and that's just because I need all the electricians working on this switchover. And that's about where we stand right now, guys.
Thanks, Kelly.
Still need any help for cleaning up?
Not right now, but in the future we will.
Well, I'd like to say thanks to the sheriff and Randy King for helping supply the people been cleaning up at the courthouse. I know Kelly and them
Yeah.
appreciated that.
It's been very helpful. I appreciate it.
It's a new attic access operation?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes.
What about that gutter overflow? Is safety to keep it from backing up if gutters are clogged up? It's gonna have a penetration through there, is
Yes.
that done?
Yeah, that is, the hole has been placed in the stone part, but we haven't made the cut in the TPO gutter roof yet.
Yeah.
Because there was a question about where it was placed. So I'm having them recheck that because I think it was set too high and will allow too much water in the gutter before it spills out. So I'm having them to double check that before we install it in the TPO. If we have to cut a new hole lower, then we'll just have to do that. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. David, you got anything to add? No, sir. All right. Ms. Pamela, could you do the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Turner,
Here.
Commissioner Black.
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here.
Commissioner Black, you lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. First item on the agenda, I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes from February 19th and March 2nd, 2016. Do I hear such motion?
I make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, I'll ask for a motion to approve the claims in the amount of $1,966,568.26 as presented to the commission. Do I hear such motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. There are no resolution orders to come before the commission, so we'll move on to contracts, agreements, and grants. Item number one, I'll ask for a motion to approve lease for a 2007 Silverado pickup truck with an annual rent of $1 for the sheriff's department. Do I hear such motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Hill. Do I hear a second?
Second.
A second by Mr. Harrison. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, I'll ask for a motion to approve partnership agreement with the Athens Limestone Community Association for the Trinity School Archives and Fort Henderson Memorial Collection. This is what Rebecca spoke to us at the work session about. Do I hear a motion to approve such agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I have a motion by Mr. Harrison. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimous. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to suspend the rules of order to add two agreements with AlDOT to the agenda as the repairs on Shaw Road. I have a motion to suspend the rules of order.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now I'll ask for a motion to approve the agreement with AlDOT for preliminary engineering for emergency repairs to replace failed arch pipe and a double-barrel 10x8 culvert on Shaw Road in the amount of $24,420. Do I hear such motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Harrison. Any discussion?
What, did we do these two together?
No, the way AlDOT does it is they have a preliminary engineering.
I mean, can we not vote on these to get together? Do we
Well,
need
you've
to
already
take them?
voted separately now.
Okay.
You'd
all
have to
right.
amend that motion.
You know, you could just vote
That's all.
and we
You,
could
you,
go on.
you left out the 244 and put in the
Well, I'm
24.
going to because it's
All right,
out of my, you
whatever.
know, if you'd have voted,
However you
we'd
wanna
already
do it.
had it other than passed by now.
All right.
If there's no more discussion, I'll call for the
Kelly
vote.
took up too much time.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agreement with AlDOT for cost of construction to replace failed arch pipe and a double-barrel 10x8 box culvert on Shaw Road in the amount of $244,205. Do I hear such motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black,
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. It'd been rough. We ain't got a second on that other.
I know it, that's what I'm saying.
No budget revisions to come before the commission. No emergency purchases, nor board appointments. No bids to award. So we'll move on to personnel actions. Item number one, I'll ask for a motion to approve medical leave for the following: Angie Maples, Diane Ray, and Brenda Pack. Do I hear such motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Black, second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, I'll ask for a motion to employ Vanessa Yates as custodian for the Clinton Street Courthouse Annex pending drug screening. Do I hear such motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, I'll ask for a motion to employ Samuel David Beckham as a corrections officer pending drug screening. Do I hear such motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion?
It looks like the sheriff's department's stacking the soccer team. Got David Beckham on, he's hiring, so I guess when we play soccer, that they'll beat us this time, so.
Well, if there's no other discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next, I'll ask for a motion to employ Gia McWhorter as office assistant at Council on Aging pending drug screening. Do I hear such motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Turner. I have a second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? There's no discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, merit increases. I'll ask for a motion to approve the following merit increases, and you see the list, and everyone has a copy of it, so I'm not gonna read them all off. Do I hear a motion to grant such merit increases as been submitted to the commission?
Make the motion.
I have the motion by Mr. Black. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Turner. Any discussion? For no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Turner.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll move on to engineering report. Mr. Moss?
The only thing I have, the only thing I have this morning for you to vote on is a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit on Ripley Road from Huntsville Browns Ferry Road to Shaw Road. But I'd also like to say we continue to get paperwork through the office on all these A-Trip projects. To be honest with you, it's a little hard to keep it straight in your mind exactly where we are on each of these. But I do know that, Lucas Ferry Road, Shaw Road, Quinn Road, Shaw Road, of course, CR money. Quinn Road, Ragsdale Creek, they're doing utility work over there now. Thatch Road, we got that resurfacing job that should be waiting on pre-construction now. East Limestone Road, also we got a time limitation on that, seasonal time limitation. But all these projects continue to work their way through the process, so we're making steady progress on all of those. But like I said, the only thing to vote on is the 45-mile-per-hour speed limit.
All right.
Brian, do you have a time frame on that Thatch Road?
I do not at this point. We're still waiting on notice to proceed.
Well done, and quickly. Do I have a motion to approve the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit on Ripley Road?
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Black, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hill, any discussion?
Yes. This road right here has been 55 miles an hour, what we talked about, Mark and Bryant here, we talked about, it's got 3 or 4 different sets of curves in it that at this time is really 55 miles an hour is too fast. I know especially when you cross down there next to where Zany Road, where my shed is, they just pick up speed going through there, so I'm glad we're dropping it 10 miles an hour. Thank you.
If there's no more discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. In other business, I'll ask for a motion to remove the following items from inventory. It's all from EMA, computer stuff, and one TV, I guess. I have a motion to remove such items from inventory.
I make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. Turner. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Our next item, approve Heart Saver First Aid Course for First Aid, CPR, and AED certifications at $30 per person. Now here,
Or
less.
Less.
Well, you didn't put the or less on
Well,
it.
I'm sorry.
It's there, you just
It come in
didn't see
after
it.
the fact.
All right.
I'll tell you more when we can discuss it.
Do I have a motion to approve such course? Do you make?
I make the motion.
Have a motion, Mr. Black, second, Mr. Hill. Discussion.
Friday, Brett McGill from Calhoun had read in the newspaper that we were interested in doing this. He has offered for the Limestone County Commission to be partners with Calhoun to come down there and do the training at Calhoun with the student nurses and certified trainers. So it's great. He said he could do it cheaper than the $30, which we didn't have a contract with anybody to do it anyway. So that works out good working with a Calhoun's vocational school down there. So glad to do that.
Sounds good to me.
Should be about 126 people, 130 people. Yeah. But the thing about it is it's not just what you're having. You'll have 130 people that'll be trained throughout the county. Let's say, that's counting the license commission. Somebody's in there to buy their tag, have a heart attack and drop on the floor. You're gonna have 8 people in that room that's certified to do CPR and have AED instruction. And then, let's say like I had with my employee, had a heart attack at the shed 2 weeks ago. I had no one there that had any CPR training, so I mean, take care of our own and take care of the other citizens. So if you're at a ball field and somebody has a heart attack, who knows, it may be somebody from the probate judge's office sitting in the bleachers that we paid to get them trained in CPR, and they can save somebody's life. So this is money well spent. I made the offer that I'd pay for my employees out of my pocket if we didn't have the money, so.
This is not intended to be mandatory.
Mm-mm.
It's strictly a volunteer basis with our employees, so, you know, we may have one guy at my tool shed that's interested. He may have 5 at his since they had the problem down there that.
I'll have all mine
Yeah,
interested.
Yeah. Well, I understand that, but I'm just, you know,
I may need it.
right. You'll probably be the first one that needs
I
it.
might do it.
If there's no more discussion, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Black?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Turner?
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. There are no scheduled public hearings. This time we will move to the report of the officers. Commissioner Hill?
Yes, sir. I'd like to thank all the county employees for the work they do and what they do. I also like to thank the taxpayers for calling and letting us know about safety issues in the county in District 1. A lot of times the wind blows signs down, and sometimes they get run over in wrecks, and we appreciate them calling in. I know sometimes they may be a little hesitant, and also keep calling in on the potholes, and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Turner.
Yeah, the first thing I want to say today is I just want to ask everybody to keep Jimmy Gill in their mind. He is not in the best health right now, and he's struggling. He's a city councilman. He's been really good to work with, as far as I'm concerned, from the commission standpoint. So if you could just remember him. The other thing I have today is I told everybody Monday I would be asking for approval to use commission forces to pave the East Limestone High School parking lot. The idea behind this is that it'll give our paving crew guys who have very limited experience on the paving machine a good opportunity to get some experience where they're not dodging cars and it's not a vital road to carry transportation or public every day. The school board has agreed to reimburse us up to $75,000. I think it'll be a whole lot less than that, but
It's 100%.
I make a
It's reimbursable anyway.
What?
But it's up to 75 is completely reimbursable.
Oh, yes, yeah. So, I'm gonna make a motion that we do that.
Do I have a motion to approve the be 100% reimbursable money up to $75,000 to for the paving crew to pave East Limestone High School parking lot? I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Black. Any discussion? There's no discussion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Turner,
Aye.
Commissioner Black.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Harrison.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Do you have anything further?
Oh, that's all I had. Thanks for approving the parking lot.
Thanks for doing it.
Commissioner Black.
Today, looks like they're starting to put down the leveling base for Ezel Road. Hopefully, we'll have Ezel Road to be paved within the next 24 to 48 hours and completed. Hallelujah. I'm tickled to death. Huntsville Browns Ferry, the area from the Tanner Post Office all the way to Highway 31. Looks like we may be getting that done really, really soon too, because they're just gonna maybe transfer on over and finish that job for me. Mack trucks, we have left this morning driving our trucks down to JM Wood Auction in Montgomery. We took 4, I took 2 trucks, and Ned and Stanley had a truck each that we took down there to have auctioned off. Right now, the value of the trucks is very, very high in comparison to what the payments are. And even talking with Pam this morning, the dump trucks that we're purchasing, I think, may actually be cheaper than the ones we bought last year. So that's really, really good. Old Highway 20, we're still waiting on to hear something from the governor's office about maybe the 20% match. It sounds really good. It's gonna be what, about $180,000? The bridge is gonna cost somewhere around $1 million. So the feds will pay 80%. Hopefully, we can get the money from the governor, along with, I think Mayor Battles and some of his people in City of Huntsville are helping us out with that. And we'll get the other paid for, and there'll be no out-of-pocket money for Limestone County. So, other than that, thanks, and looking forward to pretty weather from here on out.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Harrison.
Excuse me, is this appropriate time to ask about Ripley Road or not? We can wait if it is not.
You can wait till later.
Shaw Road. I'm talking about Ripley Road.
Well, the public comment was the front,
You can ask me after.
but we
I
can
know, but
afterward.
this is the commissioner and his report for District 3, so I'll ask him.
Okay.
I'll ask him later.
Okey-doke. Commissioner Harrison.
Well, we're gonna take advantage of the pretty weather, and we're grinding up portions of motocross between Lauderdale, where Lauderdale 117 comes in, going north to the branch. We're portions of Smith Hollow past the houses all the way up to Salem Minor Hill Road, and the back portion of Smith Gover roads. If we don't have any equipment breakdown, we're hoping to get that done this week.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to thank y'all for coming, and be rest assured that we are, Mark has talked, Donald G., we're moving on what we can do to make us, it won't be put on the back burner. I do want you to understand the time constraints that we have as far as where we are. I mean, we've turned it over to Donald. He gets to the point where he can turn it back over to Mark. If that gets to that point, then we can move them forward from that point. The drainage issues, Mark, that's with Mr. Harrison. Nothing I can do about that. That's, or just like if it was at any district, it's the commissioner's call on drainage issues and engineering. But thank you for coming. I would like to thank Mr. R.V. White for these coins, these beautiful 911 coins that he had presented to all the commission. Thank you, R.V. Thanks everybody for coming. Sheriff, thanks for coming. Everybody have a great week. And with that, we'll recess to 10 a.m. on Wednesday, March 16th, 2016 at the Washington Street Courthouse.